Hi learners, I welcome you all to the second video of Module 35 of School Counseling. This module is on special concerns of school counselor, the need and importance for early identification and planning suitable intervention. The learning objectives of this video would be to identify and become aware of issues like developmental disorders, that is learning disorders, its identification and intervention, to get acquainted with the role of school counselor and different professionals involved in planning suitable interventions. Developmental disorders. The neurodevelopmental impairment are conditions in which the nervous system is impaired and difficulties can be seen in accession, retentivity, or implementation of specific skills or sets of informations. The various cognitive functions such as attention, perception, memory, executive functions, abstract reasoning, etc. may get affected. These disorders may range from mild to severe level. Mild disorders can be comfortably managed with behavioral and educational mediations, whereas severe impairments requires more concentrated assistance. Neurodevelopmental disorders are categorized as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, autism spectrum disorders, and learning disability, etc. As this course is about school counseling, we will see elaborately on learning disorders. Learning disorder. According to National Joint Committee for Learning Disabilities, the learning disability is an umbrella term that includes a group of heterogeneous disorders which exhibit serious or consequential difficulties in the accession and use of skills such as listening, reading, writing, or arithmetic. These are innate or inherited and are believed to be due to dysfunctions of central nervous system and may occur across lifespan. Other issues such as behavioral regulations, interaction with group, and social perception may crop up with learning disability, but by themselves they do not constitute a learning disorder. Learning disorder can be seen associated with sensory impairments, intellectual deficiencies, and emotional problems such as bipolar problems and manic depression, and also with external conditions such as lack of opportunities, inappropriate guidance, etc. But learning disorder is not the consequence of the above mentioned conditions. Diagnosis of learning disorder involves use of standardized psychological tests. Testing includes assessing the specific abilities of writing, reading, and mathematics. When the performance of the child is significantly lower than what is expected of age and intellectual level, then the child is considered as learning disabled child. Example, Wide Range Achievement Test 4 is a psychological test which measures specific abilities along with academic achievement. Now we will see the identification of learning disorder. The main objective of identification is to accord treatment and support to the child so that he can function successfully in all dimensions of life. The goal of early detection is to locate children with issues or children at risk and to provide services so that the expansion of the problem can be arrested. Apart from hereditary, factors such as hormones, nutrition, sex of the child, child rearing practices, and geographical location of the child influences the maturity and rate of development. Children who exhibit difficulties in development may potentially be at risk of learning disorder or may not be so. Still, screening and evaluation is to be performed. This should be followed by giving the child many learning opportunities and then intervention can be done. Family plays a very crucial role in the detection of learning disorder. The family may think there is a difficulty and discuss it with either a teacher or a very close friend. But there may be some families which may deny that there is a problem as they are worried about the consequences. Awareness to the following symptoms is important for early identification. Easy distraction and restlessness is one of the important features observed by the teacher and parents. Difficulty in comprehending long passages, insufficient memory system where they find it difficult to recall, difficulty in sequencing a story in a right order, sarcasm, humor, and play with words cannot be understood. Words and word ending may be omitted. Finds it difficult to work in a group project because the child fails to adopt other person's perspective. The child has issues in gross and fine motor skills and laterality aspects too. There are various trained professionals available to help individuals with learning disorders. Audiologists, they specializes in enhancing listening skills. Educational consultant, these are academic advisors. Educational therapist is a person, one who helps in learning desired behavior and developing strategies for academic learning. Learning disabilities specialist are professionals who specializes in providing academic services to teachers and children with learning disorders. Neurologist, a doctor who deals in neurology. Neuropsychologist, psychologist who deals with interaction between nervous system and mental abilities. Occupational therapist are those who help students in developing, improving and recovering skills required for regular working and living. Pediatrician is a medical professional who focuses on the health and care of children and teenagers. Psychiatrist is a medical consultant who can prescribe medications for various psychological complications. Clinical psychologists are trained in diagnosis, assessment, and providing treatment for psychological health problems. School or educational psychologists are the people specializes in the arena of education, focusing on the process of learning and teaching occurring during school environment. Speech language therapist, they focuses on the treatment of swallowing and communication problem. Now we will see some of the suitable intervention for learning disorder. For developing or supporting the academic development of the child, individualized educational program, that is IEP, is to be developed. The school counselor should work in collaboration with a team of experts and give required information and guidance to the child for the best possible education program. The student to be motivated and encouraged to optimize his or her strength. Psychoeducational intervention, psychoeducational and cognitive behavioral intervention to be used for making the student aware of their learning problems. These techniques can also be used to assess the various abilities of the child so that the child's self-esteem and self-efficacy can be catered to. The learning disabled students should be coached in skills that will help the child to approach others when in need of help. The school counselor should include short-term targeted counseling. When the child understands that the counselor accepts his or her unconditionally, it increases the student's willingness to share his concern with the counselor. The counselor can then help them in resolving many emotional issues such as shyness, learning to share, and compromises, etc. The counselor should guide the teacher. This includes making the teacher aware of the problem, the degree of the problem, and the causes, and how teachers can support the intervention strategies. The role of teachers includes giving more time to children so that they can learn and adapt, to be concise and clear in giving instructions and explanations, to give increasing level of difficulty progressively, providing individual supervision, praising and encouraging the child, arranging for older learning disabled child as a buddy who can help the learning disabled child, arranging a seat near the teacher and regularly changing the activities. The parents to be actively involved in decision and discussion to support the child throughout the life. The counselor should psychoeducate the parents on a regular basis. These are some of the role of school counselor and their collaborative work with teachers, parents and school administrators. I hope we have understood in a nutshell about the concept, identification, and interventional strategies of learning disorder and role of school counselor. In the next video, let us see about other developmental disorders.